Gina. Merry Christmas, by the way. By the time this airs, I will be in Nebraska enjoying Christmas with my little grandson who is one. This will be his first Christmas. So anyway, I wanted to make sure we had one little last minute project just in case you need something really fast to throw together. Otherwise, these are great for any occasion. They're really cute and they're really fun to make. So we're going to go ahead and do those today. So we're going to make a little diamond shaped pair of earrings with crystals, and we're going to make a heart shape. Now with these hearts, I had done something similar a few years back on this channel with black crystals and black thread, and people complained that they couldn't see it. Plus, I think the way that I will explain it today is a little bit simpler to understand than that previous tutorial. So I will be essentially remaking that particular video with this one. So we're going to make a pair of hearts and we're going to make this triangle pair. However, while we're on camera, we're going to use blue crystals instead of clear crystals so that you can see it better. So I'm using a 4mm Bicone crystal. Each earring, for the diamond shaped ones that we're going to do first, you will need 16 crystals for each earring. You will need 2 11-0s and 1 8-0 and 1 ear wire. Now, of course, you're going to double this. This is for 1 earring. I'm using a size 12 beading needle, and I'm using some 6-pound Fireline. And I have put onto my needle about 2.5 to 3 feet of thread. And then we're just going to start by picking up 4 crystals onto our needle. So just pick up 4 crystals. And let me rearrange my camera so my hands are actually in it. And we're just going to bring these crystals all the way to the end of the thread. Leave enough to tie a knot and to hold on to, and then go back up through the first crystal on the tail side. Hold on to that crystal, hold on to the tail, and pull your needle through. Pull all the thread through until you can draw your crystals together like this. Then we're going to sew back around. So we're coming out of this crystal, we'll sew into the next one, and we'll sew all the way around until our working thread and our tail thread are in the same spot. So I'm holding onto the crystals as I pull my thread through so I can maintain some tension and keep my unit together. Now, my working thread and my tail thread are next to each other. I am going to place the working thread over the tail thread, and then I'm going to bring the tail thread through the resulting loop twice. Okay, come on, go in there. Twice. Just like that. And then we're just going to draw a knot down between the beads by pulling on the tail and the working thread. Just like this. Now, we are going to sew around all of these beads again just to make sure they're secure. So I'm coming out where the knot is. I'm going to go into the next bead. And just make sure you don't draw your knot into your beads. And then just sew all the way around. Just to make sure it's nice and secure. Okay, now that I'm in this last bead here next to my tail, I'm going to go into the next one. I'm going to cut this tail down just enough to keep it out of my way, like that. So now you have 1 unit of right angle weave, just like this. Now we're going to make 3 units of right angle weave just on top of each other. So in order to do that, I need to sew down to this bottom bead so I can proceed with my units from that bead. So I'm going to go into this side bead here, and then I'm going to go into the bottom bead. I'm just turning my unit a little bit so I can hold on to it. Now I need to make another unit. We're going to be sharing the bead we're coming out of. So instead of 4 beads, now we need 3. We are going to go into the opposite side of the bead we're coming out of. So go into the opposite side and pull these 3 beads down to the unit. I got tangled in my scissors, so sorry. Just pull these down. There we go. And then we're going to sew through this unit. Let me get you in a little closer. And we're coming out of this connecting bead right here, the bead we have shared with the previous unit, and we're just going to go into the bead next to it. Hold on to your beads between your thumb and your finger and just sew through them. So sew through the next one, hold on, pull, little tug at the end, and then go into the next one. Hold on to your unit, pull, and then go into the connecting bead we started in, right here. Now, we've got 2 units of right angle weave. So this is my first unit, this is my second unit. I need to sew down to this bead to make my 3rd unit. So I'm coming out of the connecting bead, I'm going to go into the side bead here, and then I'm going to go into the bottom bead, right here. And I'm going to pick up 3 more beads to make my 3rd unit. So we're sharing this bead, we go into the opposite side from which we're coming out of. Just like this, pull these beads around, and then we're going to sew through them again. So we're coming out of the connecting bead, we go into this side bead. Then we go into the bottom bead, and then this side bead. And then into the connecting bead. And we're just going to stay there for a moment, just in the connecting bead there. You can see now I have 3 units of right angle weave, just like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put another unit from this bead on this side of the center unit, and then I'll put another unit on this bead on this side of the center unit. So we're basically going to put a cross shape is what we're going to do. So we're going to go through the middle bead. So we're coming out of this bottom connecting bead, we're going to go into this side bead right here. And we're going to pick up 3 more crystals. And we're going to go into the opposite side of the bead we're coming out of, just like this. Hold on to it and pull your beads down. Now you can see I have a triangle. So what I need to do is I need to sew back through these beads and back into this connecting bead here. So even if I turn my piece, know that I'm just working in the unit that I just added. Okay, so I've gone through all 3 of the beads that I just added on there. Now I'm going to go into the connecting bead of that center unit right here. And I'm going to pull my thread through. Now I need to add one on the other side of this center unit, so I need to sew to the other side. So I'm coming out of this bead here. I will need to sew into the connecting bead here between the first unit and the second unit. I'll sew through that bead. And then I will get into my center bead from the original 3 units, that outside center bead. And now I will add my 3 beads. I'll go into the opposite side of the unit I'm coming out of, just like this. Pull those down. Now I need to work in those 3 beads I just added, go back through them. So I'm coming out of this bead here, I'm going to go up into the bead next to it, right here. Then I'm going to go into this outside bead, and then I'm going to go into this bead here, and then back into my connecting bead, so that I've made a complete circle around that unit, just like that. Now, essentially, we have a square or a diamond shape. So the thing is, with doing it this way, these two units are not attached. The side units, all four of them just kind of flip up. So we're going to attach them together. And we're going to do that in a specific way. So we are coming out of the top bead of the center unit of right angle weave. We're going to go straight across, or actually, let's go up into the side arm of that unit that we're in. So just go straight up. Then we're going to go into the side bead. So we're going to go all the way around the outside of the square, following the holes of our beads. So we've come up from this one into this one. We're going to go down into this one. And then we're going to turn it. We're going to go up into this one. So you're just going to follow the holes of your bead, just sewing all the way around the perimeter of the square. Here, I'm just going to get my working thread out of the way and melt this little tail in, and then I'm going to go into that bead. Then I'll go into this bead. So you just follow the angles of the beads and just go into every bead on the outside. And this attaches everything together. Now you could have just done two units of right angle weave and then did two to attach to them. Yes, you can do that. However, very beginning beaders get confused when you start doing multiple units of right angle weave. So this I've come up with as a solution to that. When you can see how they go together and you get a little bit more advanced, then you'll know how to do this without doing the method I've just shown you. And then you won't have to sew all the way around it. But this is a very simple way to comprehend the stitch and to accomplish an easier project. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, and then I'm just going to come out this top bead here. So I'm going to go into it. It's right where my original knot was, and I'm going to go in it right there. Now we're going to attach our ear wire. So for this, you'll need 11/0 and 8/0 seed beads. So you'll need 2 11/0s and 1 8/0. We're going to pick up an 11/0, then we're going to pick up an 8/0, and we're going to drop this to our piece. Just like that. Now we need an ear wire. Make sure that your ear wire is closed tightly, so you can just lift where it opens and then bring it back down and shimmy it in. These are actually closed pretty tightly, so I'm not going to open it all the way. But just make sure they're closed tightly. Make sure that you go through the, if you prefer one side to the other, this is going to be double-sided, so it doesn't really matter. But if you prefer one side, then just make sure that your ear wire loop portion is down towards, the long portion is down towards your bead mat. That way it goes on in the direction that you're sewing from, just like this. So I'm going through the loop of the ear wire, then I'm going to go into the 8/0 seed bead. I'm going to hold onto that 8/0 seed bead, ignoring the 11/0 seed bead. Don't go through it, just go through the 8/0. And then once you've gone through the 8/0, then pick up another 11/0. And then go into the other side of the bicone that you're attaching to. Just like this. Pull this all together. Now you're going to have to arrange it. You're going to have to bring your 8/0 and your ear wire up and just arrange it in a triangle like this. And then we're going to go back up through this 8/0 here, because we're coming out of this 11/0. Go back up through this 8/0, go into your ear wire. Just make sure you go through the ear wire. Go back down into the 8/0 and then go into the 11/0 on the other side, just like this. pull your thread through, straighten everything up. So my ear wire just got tangled, so let me fix that. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to go back into this crystal and I'm going to sew up through that one more time, just because it was kind of confusing because of the tangle that happened there. So we're coming out of this bead, we'll go up into the 11-0, we'll go up into the 8-0, and then we'll go into the ear wire, just like that. Pull this through, then go back down into the 8-0, go into the 11-0 on the other side. Pull this down, then go back into the bicone that we're attaching to, just like that. Now you can sew through that. I did 3 rounds. I wouldn't go through that many more times, because then you just get a really heavy thread look up on this bicone. So once you've got that secure, then we're coming out of this bicone, we're going to go down into this bead here, following the holes of our beads again on the outside layer of bicones. We're then going to go at a diagonal into this one, so up through it, and then we're going to tie a knot between these 2 bicones right here. There's a little piece of thread. Go underneath that thread, create a loop with your thread, go through that loop and pull a knot down, and then go into the bicone crystal, and then go again into the next bead, go back down into the next one on the outside here, just follow the angles of the holes of the beads and go through them. That way your thread doesn't cross and show anywhere. And then we're going to go underneath this little thread bridge here and make another knot, and then go into this bicone here. Now I'm going to cut off my thread, leaving just a little bit, and then I'm going to melt it in, just like that. And I have a little diamond earring. Okay, you stop being weird looking there. So this is what it looks like. It's kind of hard to see it on the bead mat. This is what it looks like. And I made a matching one. So here is my set. Just like that. Now, we're going to make a heart. And we're going to do that also in blue. I'm going to rethread my needle. And again, I'm going to put about 2.5 feet, 2.5 to 3 feet on my needle, and I'll be right back and we'll do the heart. Okay, for the heart earring, we will need 19 crystals per earring, and 4 11-0s and 1 8-0. Where's my 8-0? And an ear wire. Of course, double that because you're going to be making 2 earrings. That's what you're going to need per earring. So, to do this one, we're going to start it exactly the same way we did the other, but we're just going to do 2 units of right angle weave to work from. So we're going to begin by picking up our 4 crystals onto our needle. And then bring it to the end of the thread. And again, just leave enough to tie a knot with and go through the first crystal. Hold on to your tail, hold on to that crystal, push your needle through and pull your thread around until you have your first little unit. Again, we're going to sew around each crystal until we come to where our tail thread and our working thread meet. Oh, go in there, you little guy. All right, so now I've got my working thread and my tail thread. I'm going to cross my working thread over my tail thread, and I'm going to bring my tail thread through the resulting loop twice. And pull a knot down between the beads and tighten it pretty good, as tight as you can. And then we're going to sew away from our knot. So we're coming out where our knot is. Let's go ahead and sew into the next bead, and then I'm going to sew down into this bead here. I'm actually, yeah, that's good, right there. So, let's go down one more. So I've got my working thread coming out of the opposite bead from which my tail thread comes out, just like this. And we're going to make one more unit from this bead. Of course, we only need to pick up 3 beads because we're sharing the bead we're coming out of. So we're going to pick up 3 beads, and we're going to go into the bead we're coming out of on the opposite side from which we're coming out, and pull down a second unit. Now we need to sew through this unit to secure it. So we're going to go through all 3 beads we just added, and then go back into the bead we're connecting to. So I'm in my second bead, I'll go into my third bead, and then I'll go into my connecting bead, and just stay there for a minute. So this is what we have. 2 little units of right angle weave. We're coming out of the connecting bead between the 2 units. I'm going to cut down my tail just to get it out of my way. Now, with the last one we had 3 units, and in the center unit we made 2 units on either side. We're going to do the same thing in the second unit. It's just now we don't have 3, so instead of being the center unit, it's the second unit. We're coming out of this bead here, so we're just going to go up into the side unit, so that we can now make a unit here and a unit on the other side, just like we did before. So we're going to pick up 3 of our crystals onto our needle here, just like this, and we're going to go into the opposite side of the crystal we're coming out of, and we're going to pull the thread through and draw this up. I'm going to get a little closer. Now, these are the 3 beads I just put on, so I'm going to turn it and sew back through all 3 of those beads to secure them, and then go back into the bead that I am connecting to. So here's my third bead here, and now I'm going into the bead I connected them to. So now I've got my first unit, my second unit, and from my second unit I have another unit. So if we start it the way we did, if we hold it the way we started, here's my first unit, here's my second unit, and here's the side unit. Now I'm coming out of this bead right here. I'm going to sew through the bottom bead here, and then the side bead here to get back into my second unit, the bottom unit, side arm, on the opposite side from which I just put this unit on. And I am going to pick up 3 beads and connect them. So I'm going to go into the opposite side of the bead I'm coming out of, and sew through them. Okay, so now you can see we have our top unit, our second unit, and we have 2 units on either side of our second unit. At this stage, we're going to just turn this over. And now we have the bottom half of our heart. We now need to put a unit on top of this unit and this unit, ignoring the middle unit. So we're going to sew all the way to the top bead in this unit and put another unit on top of it. Then we'll sew through the center here, come over here, and put another unit here. Just like that. So what I need to do is I need to go into this bead here, and then this bead here, and then into this top bead of the unit. I need to pick up 3 more beads, and I'm going to go back into the bead I'm coming out of on the opposite side, just like this, and pull my beads down. And now you can see I have a unit on top of that side unit. And I'm coming out of this bead here, I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to sew all the way around this unit to secure it. So go into this bead, and then into this bead, and then I'll go into the bead I have connected to right here. Now let's get in even closer. So we're in this connecting bead here. We need to sew down this bead, and this bead to get back over to this unit so that we can make our next unit on top of this one. So coming out of this bead here, I'm going to go down into the side bead of the center unit. Then I'm going to go into the bottom bead of that center unit right there. Then I'm going to go into the side bead of the center unit right here. And now I can go into the top bead of this side unit. So you can see I have one half of my heart done. Now I need to do the other half right here. So I'm going to pick up 3 beads onto my needle, and I'm going to go into the opposite side of the bead I'm coming out of and pull this down. Now I need to sew through this entire unit. So I'm going to go down into this bead here, this bead here, this bead here, and now I'm back in the connecting bead. So what we have to do now is sew all the way around the outside of our heart to secure it, and then I will show you how to put your connection on for your ear wire. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to burn down this little tail. Just melt it out of my way. I'm coming out of the connecting bead. Darn thing. Oh, she's arguing with me. Okay, so I'm coming out of this bead right here, our connecting bead, the last unit we did. I'm going to go up into, actually, let's go down. Let's go down into the next bead. So the side bead, we're going to go down towards the point of the bottom of the heart here. And we're going to go through this bead. Then we're going to sew all the outside beads, just following the angles of the holes, drawing every unit together. So I'm coming out of this one. Now I need to go into this one, which is sideways. Then I'll go into the next bead, just following the angles of the holes. As I do this, I'm going to give little tugs so I can draw all these units together. Then I'm going to go into this bottom bead here, the point of my heart, up into the next bead, and then into the sideways angled bead here. Give a nice little tug, and then go into the next bead. And then these two you can do together. They're exactly the same angle on the top of the heart here. We're going to go through these two together, pull them together. And then we're going to go through the top of the heart, and then move down into the inside of the heart angle here. So down this way, and then into this center bead here, essentially just drawing everything together up into this one, up into the top of the heart, and then we're going to draw these two beads together, the same angle. So I'm just going to go through both of them, right here. And now I'm just going to sew all the way around until I get myself positioned to put my ear wire on. So I'm just going to follow my beads again. So I'm just going to go in all the outside beads. So I can work my way up to the top of the heart again. This gives more strength and structure to the heart. You want to be using a very small size of thread. So this is a 6-pound Fireline. You can use an 8 or 10-pound nanofil. I'm going to go up through both of these here. Now I've worked my way all the way up to the top here. I'm going to go through this bead here. I'm going to go down into this bead, into the center bead here, and then I'm going to go up into this bead, and that's where we will stop and start to add our ear wire right here. That's where you should be coming out. Now you're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and an 8-0, and you're going to drop it down to that bead you're coming out of. Then you're going to pick up your ear wire and go through the loop. Let me back off just a little bit here, or move down or do something. Go through the loop. Make sure your loop is closed tightly. You can put wire guard in on this if you want on top of the 8-0 and just sew through it, and then add your ear wire later if you would like to too. And then we're going to go down into the 8-0. We've come through the ear wire. We're just going to go into just the 8-0 and pull our thread through. Pull the ear wire down, just like this. Pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. And then we're going to go down into the bead that's angled down on this unit right here. So the same bead on the opposite unit. Go down into it and pull this down. Until you get something that looks like this. All right. I just cannot stay in camera. There we go. Now we're going to sew through this unit and up through the ear wire again. So you've got a bead here, here, and here. Those are the beads you're going to be working through. So I'm going to go into this middle bead here, and then up into the bead my 11-0s are on top of, and see if I can get through. I got through one 11-0. I'll get through that 11-0, and then I'll go through the other 11-0 and the 8-0 and my ear wire, just like that. Then I'll go down into the 8-0 and the 2 11-0s on this side, and back down into the crystal I'm attaching to. And then back through. So I'm coming out of this crystal, I'll go back through this center crystal. Now you can go up and around and secure that one more time if you'd like, but I'm just going to go up into the bead, but not the 11-0s, right next to the bead I'm coming out of. And then I'm going to turn my piece, go into this highest bead on your heart here, and then right between these 2 beads on the curve of the heart, we're going to go underneath this little piece of thread. Now make sure everything is nice and tight and looks good before you tie your knot. And let's do that again since my thread was messed up. We're going to go underneath the thread bridge, pull the thread into a loop like this, go through the loop, and pull a knot down on that thread bridge. And then we're just going to sew down into the next couple beads. And on the bottom of the curve here, we're going to do that again. So just go between the 2 beads on that thread bridge right there and tie another knot. And then go into the next outside bead, and then the next outside bead, just following the angles of the holes of the beads, and then into the bottom bead. Pull your thread through. I'm going to cut my thread off, and I'm just going to melt this little guy in, just like that. And voila, I have an earring. So let me get you close so you can see him. Looks better if I pick it up. Whoops, maybe. If I can hold on to the little slippery guy. There we go, just like that. Now, I have a set. I cannot hold on to these little hearts. All right, that's what that looks like. Turned out really cute. It's really fast. It's really easy. You can make 2 sets of earrings in no time. I have made actually 4 sets because I made some clear ones too, because I really like the look of the crystal in this particular style. You can kind of see the thread through the blue ones a little bit more. It fogs your crystals a little, but the thing is just use a really small diameter of thread, or use a darker bead, or use a lighter bead with the crystal thread. Otherwise, I was going to tell you something, but it just slipped my mind completely. I don't even know what it was, so we're not going to go there. All right. So anyway, that is what I've made. And if you use a really dark bead, use smoke Fireline. Otherwise, you'll be able to see it against your dark beads. So just kind of choose your thread wisely with the color of beads that you use, and it should turn out pretty nice. So anyway, Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.